Let's go! We have an LSU film study all the way from my hotel in Atlanta. We're going to talk a lot about Jaden Daniels. I'm going to try and get to some Garrett Nussmeier film as soon as I possibly can. So we're going to get to as many plays as we possibly can. So obviously some really good stuff right here by Jaden hitting Dre on the slant for a first down. Pretty self-explanatory right there. And look, you guys know these film studies sometimes can get demonetized, and your donations have really taken PHL to the very next level. I really do appreciate that. Let's go to this 3rd and 5 here, and sometimes Jaden likes to lock on to Malik Neighbors just far too often. One thing I really like about Georgia's defense is they don't really panic when they see these stacked sets, okay? Tennessee lived with this. Obviously, they would do it with wider splits, but you notice they're just all over this. So Jaden eventually works backside. Once again, this probably was a little too slow to work back here, okay? Because look, you look at this pre-snap right here. You notice how far this DB is playing off of Kayshawn. Honestly, even if your first read is here, you should probably be working back to this quick slant a little bit quicker. And, of course, if you get this quick slant, and let's just say he gets tackled, right here, you can go for it on 4th. I think he should have been able to work back to Kayshawn here just a little bit quicker. And it was late, right? So this allowed this DB to press down on it. Also, if you have time, Dre also found a way to get open right here, okay? And Dre is wide open for a first. But when you have to wait that long, it did happen so slowly that this protection over the middle might have deflected that pass right there. Also, I think he did to help, break that pass up. So not the absolute best quarterbacking right there by Jade. A pretty big play on special teams after we 3-and-out them. So what I'm going to do here is share something from my vantage point at the game. I did have an all-22 view at all times. And this play, even though I don't have footage of it, I did shoot some plays from an all-22 vantage point. You do see a very nice completion right here by Jaden, and this is really good quarterbacking to throw a very accurate pass. But on this first down completion, look at how difficult this was right here on Keely Ringo. Amazing catch right here by Malik to bring this down. And yes, we want to play bully ball with Malik because he is an alpha. But this was a huge miss right here by Jaden Daniels. And I wish I would have filmed this. First thing, the protection's really good, okay? We had struggles blocking Jalen Carter. This was a really good rep by here by Emory Jones to, yes, you gave up some ground, but able to reset and give Jaden this very clean pocket. So the first thing here is that we do have a lot of time back here to throw the football. But what we're actually doing here is we're running a post with this player and a post with BTJ. The one thing we do know is that, yes, while they are playing off right here, what we do know is this safety is all the way on the opposite hash, and if this safety is all the way on this hash, he is going to pick up the first post route. So if we see BTJ get even with this DB right here, let's take a chance over the top. And this does actually open itself up. And actually, this DB leaves BTJ, and the corner actually goes with BTJ right here. So Jaden pre-snap predetermined that he was going to throw this football to Malik Neighbors, and you'll see this just opens itself up. Once you see that this safety is all the way over here, and we're getting vertical with our 2 interior receivers on this side, okay, the safety is going to pick up Kayshawn, especially if they're playing flat-footed right here. Oh, man. Look at that. Ugh. Move ahead here to the 2nd and 7. Just really good quarterbacking. We ran this concept versus Texas A&M. This clears out. All you got to do is sit in this zone. John Emery takes the flat defender. Good anticipatory throw right here by Jaden. Notice he doesn't see him completely open. Well, actually he did. Still a good throw right here by Jaden. throw catch and a good run after the catch right there by Malik Neighbors. And now we have them on their heels. Yes, we missed the post route a little bit earlier, but Jaden is still playing really good football at this point. Okay? So there you go. Good stuff. Really good strike right here to Kyron Lacey. God, this is just really, really good quarterback play. We get the motion right here. And yes, after a low snap, Jaden sits in this pocket and he sees Kyron Lacey open himself up on the dig. And this is the kind of throw that Jaden would make over the past couple weeks, the easier throw, but this time he drives the football down on this dig and throws a strike to Kyron Lacey. Good throw, good catch. Third down. What a big throw right here by Jaden Daniels. Okay, he looks left and then works his way back to the right. Okay, and he hits a really, really good pass right here to BTJ with Keely Ringo all over him. Good route by BTJ, being a big target and kind of just boxing him out. Get a nice first down. Obviously, this is one of the biggest plays of the game and one of the biggest plays of the season. Okay? It's honestly just not really that complicated, right? They do a good job just overwhelming this portion. They got two guys going up against Will Campbell, and Bradford's got to do a better job of just sitting heavier right here. But still, you never want a kick to get blocked this cleanly from an interior player. Okay? He gets his paw on it. Now, what happens after this, as many of you know, we're not going to play out the whole run. And Brian Kelly took the blame for this. Anytime the ball's on the ground, never give up on the play. If the ball is on the ground, never ever give up on the play. Okay? Go run towards it. Go pick it up. Right? And I don't know why more coaches don't do that. Now, a lot of people are going to pile on Coach Poling and Brian Kelly for allowing this to happen. But the truth is, it happens a lot more than you think, right? Ole Miss made this mistake in the Egg Bowl. Not like a mistake like this, but they threw a pass that they thought was just, a horizontal pass, but the rest viewed it as a lateral. All Ole Miss had to do was pick up the ball. But because a Mississippi State player ran over there and picked up the ball, even though the play was blown dead, Mississippi State had the clear recovery. So when the ball is on the ground, in any situation outside of punt return, you should go pick it up, right? Only punt return should you be in a situation where outside of the returner, you should never touch the football. But the sign of a good team is how you bounce back, and Jaden, this is some of his best quarterbacking on the year, okay? So he looks right, and then he sees that, Malik is just doubled. So the truth is, if you look right, this is covered. Let's work backside to what is called a levels concept, okay? So levels is basically this player runs a deep dig, this player runs a shorter dig underneath him, and this player is also running a dig. So he could have had Jure right here if he wanted. But he sees that this dig by Kayshawn is starting to clear itself out. Okay? Good block right here by Deli. Good job right here by Emory Jones. Cleanest pocket in this situation you possibly could ask for. And Jaden throws an absolute strike. On a concept this year, he just hadn't been that good. Jaden has not been good throwing digs because he's just not decided to rip it. See what happens when you rip digs? Christopher Smith is a DB, very experienced DB, but there's a reason he's still at Georgia, because sometimes you can burn him, and that's exactly what we do, and this is the Kayshawn that we're used to seeing. So we bounce back, get a nice big tutty, but then, unfortunately, after that, the Dogs' offense started getting going. Alrighty, so here is one of the few defensive plays we're going to break down. Once again, this protection is just nasty, okay? Even then, it wouldn't have mattered because this play is just happening so quick. And it's just an easy read right here, okay? let's not let Black Bowers beat us, okay? So Greg Brooks is giving help over the top right here to Jay Ward, all right? That's good. But if our safety's playing this far back, we don't want to leave this dig that wide open. And now their best player with the ball in his hands is able to make this guy miss, okay? And he was able to gain a lot of yak after that. And Georgia started toying with us a little bit offensively. They're running our plays on us now. I thought that was interesting for their first touchdown. And this was just too easy. This was obviously the 4th and 2 play to Mason Taylor. A different variation of it with no motion, but they scored a tutty. So Georgia gets their second big lucky break. They block the field goal and, they get the lucky return. This was obviously, one of the luckiest plays of the year. Good read by Jaden to pull it and throw it. This is obviously an easy RPO read. Could Jack have cut this route off a little bit sooner? Maybe. But the safety is just playing so far downhill and so fast downhill. He actually does get there early. Okay? But still, it's so simultaneous, you can't really call that. And then they just get the lucky bounce off the helmet right into not only that player's arms, but the safety that actually did blitz. So, yeah, that's just so unbelievably unlucky. This play call, we got stopped on 4th and 1 a little bit later as well on this. Hopefully we can get to that play. I got a flight to catch here in a few hours. Man, this just isn't good. First thing is we need to make sure we're blocking their defensive line first. And this was a rough day for our offensive line. It's one thing if they're beating you. It's another thing when you allow the first line of defense to come through clean. And this just happened too often, right? Whether it be missed assignments, whether it be guys just barreling through. This guy has just got to get blocked. Okay, so Will passes this off to Frazier, and Will probably thought Frazier was going to pick this player up. If we pick this player up, we're getting this first down, but 90 just makes this play, and he's by himself, and that's just too much penetration right there. All right, so we get a good stop on Stetson Bennett, and I want you to see the flight of this ball. This is one of the most bizarre flights of a ball, which is why I think Jay Ward, who blocked the big game-winning kick versus Arkansas in 2020, I actually think he got a piece of it. Okay, so the ball looks like it's going this way. It swerves right, and then look at how it swerves back left. Once again, there's no wind. I think that kick was partially blocked. I'll move ahead to this 3rd and 10. Man, this actually was just very exotic stuff. So the flat defender becomes the deep cover 3 defender. This player bails, and then these two guys become the hooks, if you will, okay? It's a very bizarre coverage, but Jaden actually makes the right pre-snap decision right here, 3rd and 10. Let's just throw it up to Malik, see if he can get behind 3. And the fact that Malik got behind 3 while he was bailing is really, really, really good stuff. And honestly, a big reason why I think Malik was able to generate the separation is that he does oftentimes run a comeback route in that spot. This was a miss by Jaden, and at the same time, you would still like to see Malik make this catch. Again, I know we torched him, but you see some of the things that Georgia's DBs do with Kirby Smart and that defense, Glenn Schumann, their DB coaching is just really, really, really good. And, you would still like that ball to be caught, but it's difficult because 3 made a good play to come back in there. At this point, it's just depressing. It just feels like there's nothing we could do to stop him. And, this is just easy stuff for Stetson. Top shelf this ball to your super tall tight end. And, the route is on. All right, 1st and 10, and it's Jalen Carter again. 1-on-1 versus Dellinger. Turner leaves Delly for this block. and he works to the second level. And, there's just not a whole lot you could do right there. It's a guy who's barely played going up against a future NFLer. Something else that hurts if you can't get RPO game going, which is obviously run pass option. I don't know if this was an RPO. It could have been. If we pull, we hit this versus UAB. If we pull and throw right here, we're getting a nice gain on first. Instead, it's a 2-yard loss. Here it is, 2nd and 11. It's the very next play. And they're so far back. We're running everything deep. Once again, I think there's just better ways for us to utilize Mason Taylor than still just running him up the sideline here. There's better use than this, right? Also, I don't like all vertical concepts if we cannot protect up front. And this is just nasty. Jalen Carter one-on-one versus Delhi. And that's the most unstoppable move as a defensive lineman. One-on-one, if you're in a 3 technique, which is the outside shoulder of the guard, swim move to the inside works almost every time. Swim, right arm swim over the top, and he's through. Okay? Now, it's just nasty. It's just nasty. There's nothing you can do about that. Nothing. He couldn't hit check down. When you get A-gap pressure from an NFLer, you get him, of course, doing this. Holding up the number 1 finger. And that probably should have been taunting. So Garrett Nussmeier's in the game. And Nuss obviously played phenomenally. So we run all verts. Okay. He's a go, he's a go, he's a go, he's a go. Okay. Now, mistake right here by Nuss. This ended up being an okay throw. But if they're in a too high shell, which they are, you don't see the other safety. Now you can kind of see them right there. The vert you should never throw versus too high right here is these two, okay? You should never throw a vertical to the player running the hash right here. But if he actually would have thrown this to Keely Ringo's side, first off, good job stepping up in this pocket, helping up his pass rush. If he would have thrown it here to BTJ, we were hitting a tutty. Okay, so wrong decision to go to Kayshawn right there. It's never going to get completed. But if he would have hit, gone to BTJ at the top of the screen, that probably is scoring because he did beat Keely Ringo on that play. 1st and 10. This is just nasty design. Okay, this is just very, very intricate. And a lot of you are asking me questions about the defense. I cannot get over how this was probably the most well-designed play of the day. So they're pulling this guard, and they had a lot of success, last week, Texas A&M, pulling their guards, and our linebackers always bite to a pulling guard, okay? So, normally backers, when they see a puller, they think run to the right. So you see both of our backers step to the left, or to their left, okay? You notice this space that generates right here. So what are they going to do? Well, since this puller draws both of these backers, all they need is Brock Bowers to make this block right here on Sage Ryan. And once again, we don't have linebackers here that can pursuit. Okay? 65, that's a 5-star. Gets to the second level on Macca Baskerville, who stepped all the way here. So that's 1 less tackler. All our defensive linemen are right here. And look at all this space for 10 to run into. And we actually almost make a really good tackle right there. But they block it just well enough for a nice explosive play right here. Good touchdown saving tackle right there by Burns. And they pick up a first. Boom! I'm looking at you. Yes, you right now. So I know you've already subscribed and rang the bell. And it is currently, I think, 3 in the morning. I got a flight to start traveling to here in about a few hours. So the reason why I did that is that I hope you join our Patreon for some extra film studies and all that good stuff. So the reason why I showed you that screen is to now show you that this time with the pullers, instead of faking the handoff, we actually are going to hand it off, and they actually are going to decide to run with the puller. So on the last play with the left guard pulling, they decided to fake like they're running to the right with the puller and throw a screen to the left. Now this time we are pulling two players, and these linebackers are just so confused. You see Baskerville's trying to figure out what are they trying to do, okay? I promise you, if you played linebacker and these plays were married together on the same drive, it is hard as you know what to stop this, okay? Because they got us all confused, right? We're still trying to figure out what to do. And you see with two pullers here, he decides to take Ojulari the inside route. All Rutledge knows he has to do, the tackle right here, or the guard, the puller, is just seal him to the inside, and look at this, okay? And once again, because of all, the plays marrying together, we're late to get over here, okay? Let's go show you how tough it is to stop this Georgia offense. I mean, I really do think their offense is better than their defense. I really, really, really do. Good 2-minute drive right here, but, at this point, the analytics show that you should just give up the field goal here. It's a 4-touchdown game. A field goal really doesn't hurt you a whole lot. So, good throw right here by Jaden, but they're giving us this. Good catch right there by Jack as well. You'll see right here, it's the same thing again, right? They're only rushing 3, bringing a late blitzer as a 4th player, and they're giving us a field goal here, okay? They don't mind a field goal in this spot because they're by 4, right? You kick a field goal, it's still a 4-possession game, going from 28 to 25. So really, it's a good drive, but Georgia in that spot, they're just playing simple math right there. Boom! I'm looking at you. Yes, you right now. So, honestly, before we continue, once again, our film studies sometimes do get demonetized. Feel free to drop a donation. It obviously goes a long way. I do want to include something very big right here. I'm trying to give you as much energy as I possibly can because I am worn out AF, right? So, not only do we get the clutch fumble recovery, Perk actually made a play a few plays ago where he was able to strip it. So our defense comes up with a big stop. Now, do we get lucky that they fumbled the mesh point there? Yes, but we got some momentum, and, it's a 25-point game. Now, we can get into luck and bad luck, and yes, we got the bad luck in the first half. We get a lucky break here. Let's see if we can capitalize on it. The one thing I give Garrett Nussmeier a crap ton of credit is in high school on this play right here, he would have rolled out and tried to do some kind of whirling Derbyshire, which is not what you're supposed to do. So the design of this play is to go to Malik Neighbors right here, but 33 is right in the angle, okay, right in the passing lane here. So Nuss decides to not throw it. So old Garrett Nussmeier would roll all the way out here and would have probably already bailed this pocket, but this time he stops, surveys the field, and, makes a play. And that was a really difficult throw for Garrett Nussmeier to make. Good stuff right here. Man, if maybe Kayshawn would have been able to turn up field right there, would have had some good yardage, but get out of bounds, let's keep it going. Now, maybe Garrett Nussmeier could have actually sat in this pocket and eventually hit Dre, but he rolls out, and look at where this ball is placed, okay? Throwing off his right foot, throws it on the line before the safety could get there. Really good stuff. All right, so obviously the best throw here of Garrett Nussmeier's career on this 2nd and 7. We're down by a lot. We need to start taking chances. Good stuff right here by Garrett on this throw. One thing I didn't quite get was why 24 was so late getting over here. I don't know what he's exactly looking at. But still, Garrett Nussmeier fits this hole shot right over his head. His hand, 24 is late getting over here, and it's back shouldered enough to Malik to where not only could he catch this cleanly, he was able to catch it with momentum just to walk right into the end zone. One of the best throws you will see an LSU quarterback make, man. You have to have the arm to fit this ball into this window. And as you can see, tight spiral right there to the back shoulder away from the DB. You just could not throw a football any better than that right there by Garrett Nussmeier. Get a really good stop on 3rd and 2. They decide to take the football out of Stetson Bennett's hands. And this time, we actually make the adjustment I brought up at half, okay? Really good coaching right here by LSU. So, Jalen Carter is dominating us. And if you go listen to the halftime live stream, I said one adjustment I would make is, since we can't block the interior at all, let Josh Williams pick up the scraps over the middle. And you see this quite literally saved this play right here, because Carter probably would have gone through and make the sack on Garrett Nussmeier. So now Nuss rolls out to the right. He sees all this space right here, keeps his eyes downfield, stops, and is looking to throw an absolute bomb here to Malik Neighbors. Who cares? We're down 35-17. I don't care there's 2 safeties. Throw this football into this space. Great throw right there by Garrett freaking Nussmeier. Good stuff. Get to the all-22 here, and it's kind of sort of the same thing. 24, they are doubling, Malik right here. And let's see if there was something open. There was nothing open. So Garrett, look at when he actually decides to throw this football. Look at this, okay? Malik's not turning and looking for it. Just throw it up. We've been asking Jaden to do more of this. The DBs have their backs turned to the football. So what we know in this situation, if you're Garrett Nussmeier, is Malik is going to react to this football faster than they will, okay? And just throw it into this space and allow Malik to run underneath it. And yes, this throw actually wasn't the absolute best. As you see, Malik had to adjust to it. But because he threw it early before the DBs could turn their heads, we're able to hit that bomb, okay? This is so good. I mean, this is so freaking good from Garrett Nussmeier right here. Okay, it's 3rd and 10. They're blitzing right here to help prevent the field goal and or to force them to kick a field goal instead of going for it. They get good pressure right up the middle, and Nuss on his off foot is able to get this over the zone blitzer. And Mason Taylor, this was ridiculous right here to make 24 miss and almost get the first. And we were a half-yard short. So it's 4th and inches, and this, Denbrock's had really good play calls. He's had really bad play calls. This was so bad. I understand, we had 2 tough plays before that 3rd and 10 play, and we weren't pass protecting all that well. But Garrett Nussmeier's playing really freaking well right here. And once you tighten in this player, this is a dead giveaway that this is going to be a run. You'll see it better from, this angle. Carter blows this up from this side. Guy is coming off the edge right here. He's playing Garrett Nussmeier the whole way. And we just don't block this well at all. They're establishing the line of scrimmage, but they know what's coming. Okay? Let's see. Honestly, not Josh's best run here either. Maybe he could have, I don't know. Can you flatten out here and run underneath right here? Maybe, but Jalen Carter makes this play from the backside. and just cuts his legs out, and we just don't have a chance there. 3rd and 6, and it's the same thing. This tunnel, fake the pull to the left, gets our linebackers moving to the left, and Baskerville is thinking that this is a screen right here to Milton, and we just did not adjust well to these screens all day. And Bowers, once again, is the guy who makes a critical block. This is a really difficult block. You see corners blow this up all the time, but look at just the form right here. He's low, he gets play side of him, and then boom. Okay, it's a big 3rd and 6. All right, catch it, seal right here, and that's just it. But yeah, this is, just my big qualm with the and inches play. So they score a touchdown, obviously, and it's 42-17. Why don't we do this on short yardage plays? I really don't get it. Spread these guys out. And this is the same exact play we ran on the short yardage play, except Josh is to the right. And you see what happens if you spread them out? It's Josh versus this backer right here in the hole. And we were able to pass off this double for the guard to get to the second level. And Josh is able to run into this space. Okay? Now, I'm not saying the 4th-and-inches plays would have gone for 51 yards. Mathematically, that would be impossible. But I've never understood, the insistence of short yardage plays just needing, to put all these big guys on the field at once. It just doesn't make sense to me. Here we go. We're in 14 personnel. We draw a pass interference penalty. We decide to get tight right here. We've actually been good in 14 personnel in Denbrock's defense. I wish we would have done this on 4th-and-inches. Good block right here by Emory Jones and Jalen Carter. And all we need Noah Kane to do is finish this run, and he does, and it's a tutty. 2-point conversion. We stack our receivers on both sides. Georgia does such a good job just bracketing, just everything. It wasn't a whole lot of pressure. Garrett just throws us up and gives our guy a chance to make the play. Looks like to me right here, he's pulling Brian Thomas Jr.'s hand. But honestly, it's just a good play. Down in 3, and we're actually running mesh. But we're running it with, different personnel. The mesh is actually a running back and a tight end. Okay? So, Cole Taylor's running this way. Josh Williams is running this way. And Nuss does a good job. Jack does a good job finding a little pocket of space right here. That's with the sidearm delivery to a wide open Jack Besh. Good play design and a good job right there by, Nuss to find Jack Besh, and he does a good job making somebody miss. He falls forward for some nice yardage. 3rd-and-4, and this was obviously, the downside of having a really talented arm is you sometimes think you can fit every ball into a tight window. And not only was this ball not close, it's a pretty easy interception right there by a very experienced DB and Christopher Smith. And we are running a slot fade with the safety on the near hash. Number one, this play call just isn't good. We're not getting any separation just anywhere. Slot fades this year, we just haven't really been that good throwing them. Right here, maybe this ball should be a back shoulder, but, he's just sitting there waiting on it. It's just good defense. Now, good rule of thumb right here on this 3rd-and-4. We have 2 downs to pick this up. I don't like going empty here because, in this situation, they're going to blitz quite often. And even though they didn't end up blitzing, they did, get home right here. On this 3rd-and-4, why don't we have a personal protector to at least make them think that we might run? Okay? Didn't like this play call either. Slot fade on 3rd-and-4. Just kind of tough. Now, Nuss should never throw this pick. It's a really bad pick, especially with the safety on that hash. But man, that's... 1st and 10, this worked a little bit earlier. We come back to it. Great pocket right here. Nuss delivers a strike. Exact same receiver too, Kyron Lacey. Hit him in stride. Pick up a nice gain right there on first. Obviously, play the game right here by LSU, and it's just Garrett Nussmeier making a play. You know, give up a lot of pressure right here. Nuss spins out of it. Good decision to spin out of it. It's 4th and 10. We're going to need to just make some kind of magic happen. So we're rolling out to the right. And look at where he puts this ball. I mean, it's just excellent stuff. Dre bends off his route. We get a nice, easy touchdown. Good stuff. See it right here. Obviously, it's 4th and 10. We're running all deep stuff. They kept doing this thing where the safety bails out. And it's essentially cover 3. Okay? Nothing's open. Okay? Good job by Garrett Nussmeier to just roll out. He sees, Dre open right over the top. Dre always does a really good job getting his hand up in the air. He's really good at, breaking off his route. Keita Ringo gets lost, and Dre's back there, essentially fair catching a touchdown. Good stuff. So this was one of my favorite Nuss throws. We get a little bit of a low snap, and the protection actually is okay. We just got to step up into it, and we do. Okay? Now we're rolling out to the right, and this is just such a ridiculous catch right here by Mason Taylor. Okay, really good throw to allow our guy to make a play on it. All hands grab, brings it into his body to not allow the ball to hit the ground, and he gets a nice first. 3rd and 7, really good read again right here by Garrett Nussmeier. He sees this DB has inside leverage on Mason Taylor. So if he does, this pocket of space is going to be there. One thing I really like about this throw is he is deciding to throw this football now, okay, before Mason's out of his break. Really good throw on his outside shoulder, and it allows him to run after the catch. Good stuff. All right, so we get to this 3rd and 10 right here, and I know it's easy to pile on just our pass protection here. I think you do just need to throw this right here, okay, and make it a manageable 4th. You have to let your quarterback know, hey, sometimes you're not going to be able to have all day to throw the football and something open itself up deep. Just hit Mason right here, and let's see if we can make it a manageable 4th. Okay, but once again, the score is 30-50, right? Do you tell your quarterback, hey, we're trying to win the game, take a lot of shots, or do you tell your quarterback, hey, we are, let's just worry about picking up the first down to live to fight another day? I don't know. But the out right there to Mason needs to be thrown. So bad turnover right there by Garrett Nussmeier, but the game is essentially over anyway. So it's just one of those things where, you really don't know.
Bam! I'm looking at you. Yes, you right now. So let's talk about Garrett Nussmeier, Jaden Daniels. What should LSU do versus Purdue? But as you can see, I am back in the studio after an absolutely hellacious day of travel. But I'm super blessed to get this opportunity. Shout out to PHL King Van for really making this trip so much fun. I loved getting to hang out with so many PHL subscribers, including just some absolutely fun, insane stories that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But first, let's talk about this game, and I'm going to give you a few thoughts of what I think these next few months and potentially years of LSU football is going to look like. And notice I say years because we do need to keep in perspective, obviously, the bigger picture. This wasn't supposed to be our year. So understand that I am super happy about this team. I got to meet some of the players' parents, got to meet Slade Roy's parents. That was obviously, really cool. So, these guys played really hard. I just think we played a far better team than us. And that's okay to admit it because in 2019, we were a far better team than a really good Georgia team. So sometimes it's okay to say that because it gives you a little bit of identity as far as where your program actually is. And I don't think that's actually something that any of you would disagree with. When I went and saw Georgia when I was studying them last week, something that I brought up in our private Patreon, once again, game grades and all that stuff will be posted on the Patreon. One thing I found very interesting about watching Georgia is their offense. I thought was going to be a bigger issue for us than than their defense versus our offense. I thought we were going to be able to move the football some on them. Man, what I actually thought this game was going to look like was a lot like the Texas A&M game, like really, really long drives. But, man, Georgia's offense is so explosive, and there is a huge advantage for Georgia to have a 25-year-old quarterback in Stetson Bennett who just calls all the shots. I listened to a few interviews Kirby did about how much Stetson Bennett has changed his team. And I think about this all the time when it comes to college quarterbacks. This is such a mentally taxing position. And something Kirby said that I thought was really profound was, the quarterbacks, in his estimation, could be more important than the coordinators. So smooth. Why do I have an alarm set? I don't know. My days are all run together. I've not slept at all. I think I was supposed to be like an alarm for like 5:30 a.m. But what Kirby essentially said is, the quarterback is what, really makes the offense go. His decision-making is as important as any coach or coordinator. And Stetson just being so much older, 25 years of age. They say that the brain stops developing at 25. Being that age is so huge. You could see his maturity and his relaxation on the field. And honestly, a lot like he did in this building versus Oregon, he kind of had a Burrow-ish kind of day. I'm not saying he is Joe, but he did play really well. That some of these throws we just couldn't really do anything against. And, sometimes that happens. Stetson's a really good quarterback for a reason. But our defense obviously could have played better. And it is a little concerning that we've had two defensive performances in a row that were atrocious. But they are better than us. Our defense is very thin. I think that was painfully obvious in this game. It does look like we are a little tired. And I know that sounds like an excuse for Matt House, but we just are. We are fatigued. We are not the deepest team. And we saw youth honestly on both sides just kind of catch up to us versus a very experienced Georgia team. So give Kirby, Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, who I think is a little underrated, their 12 personnel sets, a lot of credit. And something that I feel like is very important, because one thing we just keep saying about Georgia versus LSU that I think is a little misleading is, well, Georgia just has way better players than LSU. I think that's kind of true. I think their depth is way better than ours. I think that's pretty clear. But one thing I will say is it would be one thing if Georgia, 4 yards in a cloud of dust us, kind of like what Texas A&M did to us last week. But schematically, I showed you a lot of different things that the Georgia offense did as far as misdirection and eye candy. This isn't just Georgia running you over. They outsmarted us. They outmaneuvered us. They did a really good job manipulating our defense, and that's because they have these very explosive weapons at tight end, and, they do a really good job of showing you a bunch of different looks. So, to say that, hey, they just had way better players than ours, that's true. They also did have it's kind of true, like I said, but they also had the lucky breaks go in their favor. Also, something else, and I won't dwell on this because we can't really complain too much. We've, had 4 national championship games played in New Orleans, but we do need to bring up that the SEC championship game being in Atlanta every year is such a massive advantage for Georgia. But even if this game was played in New Orleans, they were going to beat us. But I will say, being at the game, the crowd was 80-20 Georgia. Now, it could be that they're undefeated, and obviously this isn't one of our better teams. But, it does bear mentioning. So, enough about Georgia. I do actually think Ohio State's going to give him some issues because of what we're going to talk about right now. Okay, so LSU's defense, they could have played better. They definitely should have played better. But I am going to give Matt House another pass in this situation because even though this has been 2 rough performances in a row, overwhelmingly, it is pretty obvious that this guy has been really freaking good for us this year. Hopefully we have a really good performance versus Purdue. Now, obviously the special team stuff, that's got to get fixed. It stinks, right? But we talked about how to fix that error. Man, special teams does need to get cleaned up, and hopefully that does get cleaned up before the bowl game, especially if we do have some players opt out, because that's just going to make us even thinner for the game versus Purdue. Now, we get to the offensive side of the football where the game is actually won. It's the modern day, football. And, Kirby was furious that we tore him up. And what's very fascinating about us tearing Georgia up, it is not necessarily that we did offensively move the football on them. It's how we did it, okay? Now, truth be told, a lot of it was some garbage time stuff and Georgia taking the foot off the gas pedal. They were up 35-10. That is a 4-possession lead. So, they were up by a lot, and there's just going to be some lackadaisical play there. But honestly, Jayden actually moved the football well on them as well. And this is why you hear me harp on the explosive play thing so much. And I know it sounds like a broken record, and the yard per play thing and how impressive Georgia's game-by-game yard per play marks were going into this game. I do want to share something that we witnessed that we're not, actually talking a whole lot about, is that our offensive line was really bad in this game. Now, that is a scrappy group. Once again, that's also a very thin group. I would have ventured into doing a few things. I still would kick the tires. Now, once again, I'm not at practice. I don't know if this is actually a thing or not, but I would try Cam Wire potentially at one of these guard spots. We are really starting to get, worn down in the middle of the offensive line. I would try a few different combinations because, obviously a lot of those guys in the middle have had a lot of injuries. But what's really interesting about, our yard per play number being well over 7, one of Georgia's worst defensive performances, especially in a big spot under Kirby, is we did not run the football well on them. We got blasted in the trenches as well, and we still got over 7 yards per play. Now, why is that? It's the explosive play thing. It's just that simple. College football becomes so much easier of a game when you are playing an elite team when you hit explosives. And this is where we bring in the quarterbacks, okay? Once again, you can go to my game grades and you can see what I have to say about all the different positions. Obviously we touched on offensive line, but if you want everybody's game grade, I will happily give it to you. Patreon.com/LSU football. We get to the quarterbacks here. Jayden was okay. I've gotten to know some people close to Jayden, and what he has gone through for this team is, I just want to keep hammering home, how banged up he was with the ankle. Re-aggravating this injury, and then obviously we'll see about the bowl game status for Jayden. But this guy is a warrior. He is tough, and to not have his best attribute, which of course is his running, and to still not turn the football over, and to follow up on the 10-point swing fumble recovery play is really, really freaking impressive. So give Jayden a whole lot of credit for fighting back, especially considering we not only had that field goal play, but, just so many unlucky breaks in the first half and major pass protection issues. So I give Jayden, he was fine. I still think there were some misses vertically, but at least he showed a little bit more of a willingness to throw the football deep. Now, we get to obviously, the man of the hour here, which is Garrett Nussmeier, which is what everybody wants to talk about here. Look, you guys know I love Garrett Nussmeier. I've gotten heat for, saying don't give up on Garrett Nussmeier. I think a lot of us just wanted to, turn the page to Walker Howard. I, didn't like that because I think Garrett deserved this opportunity, and he has been playing better since obviously that absolutely atrocious Southern performance where he's kind of reinvented himself. And I give Garrett a lot of credit for doing what he's done for this team, sticking it out. This entire offseason, you're the number 3 guy, you're going to hit the portal, and the fact that he stuck it out and had this opportunity to play on a big stage, the biggest stage in the SEC, give Garrett a lot of credit for his moxie. And honestly, the intangibles on him and Jaden are just off the charts. But the actual quarterbacking from Garrett Nussmeier was unbelievable. It really was. Yes, the 2 turnovers were bad. I think the interception's worse than the fumble. I think situation matters there in that fumble. Yes, of course, you should just throw it to Mason Taylor, but whatever. The interception was bad. Didn't love the play call too much, but he shouldn't have thrown that pick in that situation, especially knowing we could go for it on 4th and medium in that spot. But other than that, this was an unbelievable performance of, some improvisational throws, some in the pocket throws, but honestly, it's just getting the football down the field. It's honestly that freaking simple, because if you don't hit explosive plays, you just have to be more consistently excellent on a play-by-play basis, and it's tough to do that when you play a team like Georgia. And honestly, this is why I think Ohio State's got a chance versus Georgia, because this popped up on film. I not only said it on here, I said it on, Blake's show, my weekly spot on Are You Serious? Once again, check us out Monday nights. But Georgia can get beat vertically. It is blatantly obvious on tape. This is a really good defense. Our defense isn't as good as they were last year, but you can get vertical on this defense, and I give Mike Denbrock credit for telling his guys this week, hey, let's take shots, and I'm glad that we actually did. And honestly, Garrett Nussmeier did a better job of that than Jaden Daniels in this game. So, if you go to Patreon, you'll see my final grades on Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier. I do think no matter Jaden's health in this bowl game, number one, Jaden is playing through a lot right now. So I think it's good to not, run him out there for a full, I know quarterback's different, but to run him out there for like a full game of snaps. I do think, though, you need to let Garrett Nussmeier play some of this bowl game, if not start, just to see what a game plan built around him would look like. And, once again, it's going to be tough for Garrett Nussmeier because there are going to be some changes on this roster, if you will. So, for me, I would like to see Garrett Nussmeier get some opportunities in this final game. So, very good stuff from Nuss, and, Jaden was fine overall as well. So, obviously, this is a good building year for Brian Kelly, playing in all these big SEC games. He obviously had some unbelievable coaching performances, such as, the Alabama game, and he also had some blowouts. The Georgia one was understandable here. But still, this was a very good year for BK. He should get some Coach of the Year votes, and this season was so much fun to be a part of, and I was glad to be a part of this SEC championship run. I know that sounds like a moral victory, but we weren't playing for the playoff, and this team is drastically better than us. So that's okay to admit that. We got the unlucky breaks. We could have done some things better, but there was a lot that we learned about this team. And, as Brian Kelly, said in a viral clip after the game, that he was very happy that we played hard to the very bitter end. So we will sign off here, but really quickly, it was crazy getting to meet T.I. this weekend. So many others as well. Got to have some conversations with Jason Taylor. Meeting him was really cool. Joy Taylor, guy, was just a crazy fun weekend. So yeah. What else? Oh yeah. LSU versus Purdue. We're doing this after a live stream that we did for LSU versus Purdue, so that was really cool. But yeah, appreciate all the support. Once again, subscribe, ring the bell, powerhourlsu.com. You can get some merch. And, God, there was just so many people that I got to meet this weekend, and it was so freaking cool. Talk to you soon, baby. It is Power Hour LSU. Bam! And tonight, we are doing some taco soup. Let's freaking go.